Hello, I have a bit of an inside baseball story for you guys today. So I understand if not all of you are interested in this, but I thought I'd go for it. So, Riot has just announced a new partnership with a company called eSpat AI, which evidently stands for Esports Pixels and Technology. And the partnership makes eSpat the official photo licensing partner of the LCS. So, if you don't know, oftentimes in traditional sports, the leagues will do a deal with Getty Images or something like that, where all the photos are available on a website that people have to go pay a lot of money to license. And companies like ESPN and a lot of these other major publishers do deals with Getty Images and others to get access to these libraries. So now Riot is trying to emulate that with eSpat. So I get this a little boring for some people, but here's why it kind of sucks, and I think represents a major misread of not only the state of esports media, but also it kind of flies in the way of the normal ways in which Riot supports their content creators. So anyway, let me first off introduce you to the LOL Esports Flickr account. So this is an amazing resource for people because a lot of you, some of you might be familiar with it, but basically Riot has employed really, really talented photographers for many, many years, basically since the start of the LCS. And you've been able to find photos from EU LCS, NALCS, eventually LEC, international events, etc. And these are basically available for people to use to tell stories with, to use as thumbnails, to do all sorts of stuff. And you'll see these photos all over the place. There's some really great iconic photos that have been put on this website, and just wonderful stuff because Riot can actually take the photos backstage. They can go on the stage. They get the ability to make photos, create photos that nobody else is able to create. So they're going to be shutting this whole thing down. Photos for the LCS in the future will not be going there. I don't know about LEC. Maybe LEC stuff will still be there, but the existing photos for the LCS will also all be taken down off of that and eventually moved over to eSpat, where people will be expected to pay a licensing fee. Well, how much do you expect? Well, you should expect that this thing might be about $100 because that's what I'm seeing on their website. It seems to be the average price for photos that are being licensed on their website. And if you think about it, hey, I use these photos for all sorts of thumbnails during the regular season. It's been tough without them for during the pandemic, but use them as thumbnails. You'll see them on this channel. And I usually do about 6, 7, 8 interviews. So with a $100 charge every weekend, I'd be paying about $700, $800 for pictures to use as thumbnails for these interviews. Now, if you can't afford that, because I think a lot of people probably won't be able to, and you are part of the esports media, you have a couple options. So one is you can actually pay a photographer to go to the LCS and take their photos for you. Some great photographers that deserve some work in the esports space. I think they're underappreciated, and hopefully that this means that some folks will. But one of the downsides is, as I said before, you can't go backstage and shoot photos. You can't go on the stage and shoot photos. It's really just what can you get from like the stands or right in front of the stands. So it's kind of limited options there. You can also, going forward, eSpat will be providing 3 photos a weekend of their selection to content creators and media. Actually, I think just media. You have to be part of the media credential program to get access to this, is my understanding at this time. So obviously there's a good chance you're not going to get the photo of the player that you need if you're writing a story about, I don't know, any specific player. Jensen. There's no Jensen picture for your interview this weekend because they just gave you a seat of the or picture of the audience or something. Anyway, a couple caveats to all of this. There's a section on their website. Their website, I think, is it's not on par with Getty or something. This is a startup from what I've been able to tell, and so you kind of have to search around, and it's not. There's work to be done, I think, on it. And I did find a section where you can actually, there's like a link, you can find these big packages where you can buy something you can spend between $200 and $500, which essentially lowers the price per image to somewhere between $25 and $40. That's better. I wouldn't say it's ideal, but it's better. So anyway, let's talk about why this is weird. All right, because I definitely get the the need for LCS to make money, and for a long time I championed all this stuff. And I think a lot of people that are watching this video, probably some Riot people or some eSpat people, are just saying, wow, Travis doesn't want to pay money. He's just a whiny baby. And that's true. I am a whiny baby. But what isn't true is that I don't want to pay money, because I actually would pay Riot a reasonable amount of money, even if it was like $500, $1,000 a year, for access to this Flickr account if they stuck it behind a paywall. I understand that there's value in these photos, and I actually run a profitable esports media company, which I don't think many people can say. And so I'm happy to pay for something like that if it makes sense for me as a business, right? And those numbers I just said, like, think that makes sense for me. Maybe I could do more, although it gets tough at a certain point in time. But this isn't just affecting me, and also it's not $500 to $1,000 that I'd have to pay. Probably it's going to be a lot more, right? There's a ton of independent content creators out there that are creating esports content and telling stories and trying to drum up interest in this league in a year in which we have not had, or we have a lot of the veterans that have left. I think content creators and esports media folks are incredibly important right now. In fact, one of the people that I've noticed recently who's been tweeting at me a lot, seems like a nice guy, is this dude called I Am Germ, who creates a video a day on the LCS. This is exactly the type of person who a Flickr account like this, these pictures could be very valuable for him to be able to stick on his thumbnails or in the content or whatever. I don't know if he does, right? But that's the type of person I'm thinking about here. The big players like Yahoo Esports or ESPN, they're gone because you can't actually make very much money doing this. That's the whole thing here. It is, I think, crazy for Riot to think that this is like a great way for them to make money. Now, I've been told that there are other things that are attached to us, but they kind of hope, I'm sure that AP or Reuters or these other, CNN, they decide to write an esports story and they decide to go license one of these photos for $100. But like, the big question for me is, how often is this going to happen? Like, just think for a second. Who mostly uses these photos? I believe they are folks like myself, or folks who are running like a fan blog or are creating YouTube videos, not people that are making big bank, not these big companies. And so whenever, AP or Reuters something goes and licenses a picture of the LCS audience for like $100, great, you've made $100. Maybe that'll happen a couple times a year, I don't know. But in the meantime, everybody else is going to get kind of fucked over. And I think that's what's kind of weird about this to me, is that it doesn't really make sense. Now, I should also note that because we can't be in the studio this summer, they're letting us use the photos for free because we can't have a photographer there. But basically at the start of next year, or around lock-in or something like that, it's going to change till we have to license these photos or figure out some solution. I think it's just kind of shitty. And I think it doesn't make sense. I don't think they're going to make enough money, and so they're not gaining much, if anything, and they're hurting a lot of folks. For me, I'm just going to go get a photographer, and I'm going to do this. In fact, one thing I'm considering doing is, assuming I don't have a big drop in revenue, I don't lose some sponsors, or Riot doesn't stop me from doing this, because right now, from my understanding, it's within the rule set, is just hiring a photographer several times throughout a split, taking all the photos that they take and sticking them on some sort of website where everybody in esports media can get access to them for free. And Travis Gafford Industries will just provide this for YouTube creators, media folks, and I don't care. AP or Reuters can use this. I'll provide a free solution, which obviously won't be as superior or as good as the Riot one, because they have access that they can give themselves that they cannot give me, or that they will not give me. But at the very least, people will have some of these free photos, because I think it's just not great what they're doing here. I have a statement that should be showing up in front of me any second that I have told Riot I will include in this as I talk about this in the video. So I'm waiting for that now. Okay, I just got the statement. It's been a little bit. You just saw it on screen. One quick thing, I was told that when I said earlier you're going to get 3 photos every weekend from ESPAT next year for media. That is now apparently it could be more, it could be less. The number's not been decided yet, just despite what we were initially told. The other thing I would just say is in that press release they say they wanted to partner with them for its partnership network, its technology capabilities, and its flexibility. eSpot AI, I would love to see more technology because the site is anyway, that's my thing. Sorry if you just had to sit through something that is might not be of interest to you, but sometimes people like these behind the scene things, and it's frustrating. Be sure to check out the rest of my channel. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff as we lead up to LCS, so get subscribed if you haven't, and I appreciate you watching this. Hello, if you're watching this outro and you're wondering why I'm fixing my hair, it's because I want to look good for June 1st. That's when Alienware is doing their Alienware update on Twitch. You can check it out. You go check out their socials. You'll see all this information. But they're showing you some wonderful new updates, some new information on what's going on over at Alienware, and you don't want to miss it. June 1st, twitch.tv/Alienware. Be there or be square. Is that a thing people still say?